In tonight's headlines, 5 workers are injured after an accident occurred with a crane arm at a construction site in Lok Ma Chau. The dispute between dozens of migrant workers at the United Christian Hospital expansion project and their agency is temporarily resolved after authorities stepped in. And Sam Hou-fai becomes the sole candidate for Macau's chief executive after securing 96% of nominations from the election committee.
Five workers were injured in a serious industrial accident at a construction site in Lok Ma Chau, where pieces of a tower crane fell. The construction is located in the high-tech development zone between Lok Ma Chau and the Shamchuan River. At around 3 p.m., workers were operating a crane to transport precast concrete pieces to the top of a building under construction, when a tube reportedly fell as the crane extended to its maximum length. Several pieces of the precast concrete fell from the structure, striking 5 workers who could not escape in time. Firefighters arrived at the scene and rescued the injured workers, transporting the conscious injuries to North District Hospital and Prince of Wales Hospital. Police have classified the incident as an industrial accident and have informed the Labor Department for follow-up.
Dozens of migrant laborers hired for the United Christian Hospital expansion project complain about significant wage deductions and unreasonable dismissal. After reporting the incident to the mainland police, more than 20 workers took part in a mediation session today with their agency, Shenzhen Ruiyi, and reached an agreement following a 3-hour meeting. The workers are set to resume work tomorrow. Amid demonstrations on Monday at the construction site and intervention from the Construction Industry Employees General Union, the workers managed to recover the full payment of $30,000 they were promised by the agency. However, they were forced to pay an additional $6,000 after receiving their salary, under the threat of immediate termination and being barred from remaining in the city for work. According to Chu King-keum, the vice chairman of the Employees Union, the agency is legally permitted to charge only 10% of the salary from the contractor, not the workers, indicating that the behavior was problematic. Chu also recommended that contractors assist migrant workers in opening local bank accounts to ensure that salaries are paid directly to them without passing through intermediaries. Through investigations, it was found that the agency's Hong Kong address was a makeshift accounting firm. Furthermore, according to the Ministry of Commerce, the company is not listed as eligible to provide a workforce for the SAR. Meanwhile, the Development Bureau has demanded the main contractor to ensure the protection of imported workers' rights, particularly emphasizing that workers should not be dismissed or face any penalties when reporting issues. The Bureau reiterated its commitment to not tolerate any exploitation of workers' rights and to prevent the misuse of the labor importation scheme. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Chief Executive John Lee told a forum for young entrepreneurs today that the SAR will continue to leverage its role as a super connector and a super value adder to unite patriotic young people in the Greater Bay Area and Taiwan to contribute to the coordinated regional and national development. Speaking at the launch of the Hong Kong, Guangdong, Macau, Taiwan Youth Entrepreneur Summit, Lee said the city benefiting from the One Country, Two Systems framework stands as an international financial, shipping, and trade hub. Meanwhile, the city's leader also noted that Taiwan and Hong Kong had always had close connections, with the island being the city's second-largest merchandise trading partner in 2023, just behind the mainland, while Hong Kong was the fourth-largest trading partner for both the mainland and Taiwan. As the Greater Bay Area is achieving high-quality development, I'm confident that entrepreneurs on both sides of the Taiwan Strait will seize the opportunity and write a new chapter for coordinated regional development, Lee said. Also attending the summit, Sheng Lian, vice chairman of Taiwan's main opposition Kuomintang party, said the technology advancements in Shenzhen and the success of Macau's tourism sector illustrate the vast opportunities offered by the GBA. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Former Macau's top judge Sam Hou-fai submitted his nominations to run for the SAR's chief executive, positioning himself as the likely sole candidate for the position. Sam received 383 nominations from the 400-member election committee, which means other hopefuls will struggle to secure the minimum 66 nominations needed to enter the race, since each committee member could only make one nomination. The candidate expressed gratitude for the strong support he has received so far and emphasized his intention to conduct his campaign according to his own approach. In the coming weeks, Sam plans to engage with the public and gather more opinions to encourage the remaining 17 committee members who have not yet nominated him to support his candidacy in the upcoming election on 13th October. Before officially becoming a candidate, Sam must undergo a vetting process to confirm his eligibility.
Export growth in the mainland exceeded market expectations in August, maintaining a strong trend seen throughout the year, but growth in imports sharply slowed down. Outbound shipments surged 8.7% in US dollar terms in August from a year ago, up from a 7% increase in July. Customs data showed, beating market forecast and also marking the fastest growth in 17 months. Imports, meanwhile, rose by only 0.5% from a year earlier, compared to the 7.2% growth seen in July and less than a market forecast of a 2.5% growth. Elsewhere, China's August trade surplus stood at 91.02 billion US dollars, compared with 84.65 billion US dollars in July. For the first 8 months, exports rose 4.6%, while imports increased by 2.5% in US dollar terms. In terms of major trade partners, exports to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, US and European Union all rose from a year earlier in August, with EU grew the most, up by 13%. Shipments to the ASEAN rose by 8.78%. While shipments to the US increased by almost 5%, representing a third straight month of positive growth. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
The U.S. House overcame a last-ditch lobbying effort and passed legislation Monday night that seeks to restrict federal government contractors from doing business with Chinese biotech companies and their U.S. subsidiaries. The Biosecure Act, approved by a vote of 306 to 81, will now go to the Senate. The legislation, which passed the House Oversight Committee 40 to 1 in May, calls out 5 Chinese life science companies by name, including research and development powerhouse WuXi AppTec and its manufacturing sibling WuXi Biologics, as well as BGI Group, BGI spin-offs MGI Tech, and its U.S. subsidiary Complete Genomics. As the act still has to pass the Senate before it can be sent to the U.S. president to be signed into law, Beijing urged the U.S. to respect the market principles and trade rules and stop pushing forward the bill. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning said the bill targeting Chinese companies were discriminatory and pledged that China will firmly safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of its enterprises. On Tuesday, WuXi AppTec and WuXi Biologics said they did not pose a security risk to the U.S. or any nation and reiterated that they did not have a human genomics business or collect human genomic data in the U.S., China, or elsewhere, according to filings to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Quentin Yang, Cable News. Beijing and Washington held their first theater-level commander talk in more than 2 years this morning, an effort deemed critical to foster dialogue amid escalating tensions between both sides. During the talks, Wu Yanan, commander of the People's Liberation Army's Southern Theater, and Samuel Paparo, head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, engaged in an in-depth exchange of views on issues of common concern, the Defense Ministry said in a readout. Their discussions highlighted disputes in the South China Sea, a hotspot for regional tensions that also serves as a flashpoint in China-U.S. relations, according to a statement by the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command. The statement noted that Paparo urged the PLA to reconsider its tactics in the sea area and beyond, but stressed that the talks were constructive and respectful, adding Paparo hoped this would be the first of many such conversations with PLA counterparts in the future. Nicholas Burns, the U.S. ambassador to China, said last week that the talks were aimed at fostering a dialogue mechanism where military leaders from both sides can convene and mediate conflicts if needed, ensuring rational problem-solving and avoid misjudgment. The high-level military talks followed U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan's visit to Beijing last month, when an agreement between two state leaders to hold a call between the two sides' theater commanders in the near future was facilitated. As both sides are trying to mend their ties, the U.S. plans to send a senior Pentagon official to the annual security-themed Shanshan Forum in Beijing later this week, according to a report by the Voice of America. Quentin Yang, Cable News.